This one's an underrated Zom rom-com from the early 90s, the first of its kind really, and the poor thing managed to bomb critically, as well as at the box office. I guess the world just wasn't ready for cornflakes in their horror movie, you know what I mean? It featured extremely early roles for Philip Seymour Hoffman and Matthew Fox. The script is funnier than you'd expect. The humor exists in the realm of silly cute. The jokes are very punny and ironic in nature. Overall, I'd call it a very enjoyable, albeit rather corny, dark comedy, but either way you slice it, there's no film quite like My Boyfriend's Back. All of the best punk rock films have one thing in common. They shouldn't exist. And yet, they've never let this fact stop them from raising hell on both the public as well as the big studios that unwittingly and regrettably made them. Marvels of cinema like Gremlins 2 or Big Trouble in Little China, all of which seemed like good ideas at the time, all having impressively large budgets for their atypically bizarre subject matter. In my opinion, it's these very films that the art of cinema is here for. If it's not for taking risks, then what is the point? Granted, a lot of the filmmakers don't realize that they're taking risks at the time. Nevertheless, the final result of these flicks sure do make for entertaining movie-going experiences. Nothing But Trouble is wacky nonsense, sure, but that doesn't stop everything about it from clicking in just the right way. Everything down to the Digital Underground musical sequence. The makeup effects and performances are terrific, especially those given by Dan Aykroyd. These are just a few of the reasons why this film remains on my list of the most underrated punk rock films ever. I saw this one on a double bill with Bram Stoker's Dracula. Having that direct context fresh in my brain definitely helped the jokes. Peter MacNicol is great as Renfield. His performance is pure comic lunacy. Leslie Nielsen is terrific as Dracula. He gives a completely sincere performance which only adds to the humor. His delivery is very similar to his character in the Naked Gun series, only with a Carpathian accent, of course. The score is lavish and grandiose. Much more than the material requires. This is a staple in many Mel Brooks films. He gives extra care to the elements that most comedic directors would ignore. Cry Baby is an honest-to-goodness John Waters musical and official launching pad of superstar Johnny Depp's bizarre career. The songs are catchy throwbacks to 1950s rockabilly and beyond. Please Mr. Jailer is still one of the greatest songs and sequences in any movie musical. In classic John Waters fashion, the film perfectly satirizes the self-righteously snooty middle and upper-class superiors that look down at the wretch of society. Mel Brooks' most dated movie is jammed to the rim with 90s references. Everything that's not inescapably tied to those references is quite hilarious. The rest of the humor lies in that tricky place between distractingly lame and nostalgic treat. The entire cast is having great fun, giving it their all, which seems to be the norm on any Mel Brooks set. It was refreshing to see Cary Elwes, or Cary Elwes, whichever you prefer, back in the swashbuckling comedy saddle. I had forgotten about the musical aspect of this film. There are at least 4 decent, full-fledged musical numbers scattered throughout. That sure counts as a musical comedy in my book. So refreshing to see a romantic comedy murder mystery hybrid, as there aren't a lot of those around. So I Married an Axe Murder is a unique little gem that manages to have an extremely early to mid-90s feel while maintaining its own whacked-out universe and style. The soundtrack is fantastic, and full of catchy songs of the time, including the hit There She Goes, which played a whopping 3 times in the film. Mike Myers also performs a few original comedic beat poet jams, which act as plot narration. I think that one of the main elements that makes So I Married work is its stellar cast of comedic bit players. For instance, Phil Hartman shows up as a prison tour guide in a classic scene, Charles Grodin reluctantly gives Anthony LaPaglia a ride, and Michael Richards has a Kramer-esque outburst while working on his insensitivity. Nancy Travis is also fantastic in this. Her and Mike Myers have amazing chemistry. Mars Attacks features one of Danny Elfman's greatest scores. The cast is having a blast here. This has always been known as a bit of a black sheep in Tim Burton's filmography, but upon rewatching this farcical romp and love letter to cheesy 1950s sci-fi, I found it to be a charming, ambitious, and overall underrated film, with one of the most impressive ensemble casts ever assembled. This time around, I especially responded to Pam Grier and Jim Brown's storyline. Outside of Jackie Brown, this is definitely one of her best performances.